Good evening, race fans, and welcome here to Sebring for tonight's Chad YGP. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight, as always, is Chris Wright. Chris, a little bit of a dental surgery for you today, but other than that, how you feeling?
Other than that, we're feeling all right. Won't speak too much tonight on the broadcast, but based on what we saw a couple weeks ago in Daytona, should be a pretty exciting race.
Yeah, we're hoping for a good one here tonight. I heard that it's going to be pretty tough to pass, and I do want to just quickly make note of this. There is a glitch with this racetrack that's causing these cars to look very, very blurry here tonight. At first, I thought it was an issue with my broadcasting system, but when the entire field was complaining about it, I knew that it was pretty widespread. So unfortunate. Tonight, not going to look too great out there on the racetrack, but as long as we can see the battles and see the racing, that's all that really matters. But here at Sebring, looking at the current provisional pole sitter, Hamilton Akabize, he took the win, I believe it was 2 weeks ago now, at Daytona. He's looking to do it again tonight, and Ryan Kircher, second quick in the GT3s, just behind newcomer Eric Staropoli. And it does look like qualifying is in the stages of wrapping up here. About 2.5 minutes to go here. Checkered flag is going to start coming out, so no additional time will be added, but the drivers will have a chance to finish up their laps. And as you can see there on the Justin Vandermeer machine, Casey Hatch just blew his engine. But as you can see on these machines, like I mentioned, just not looking too good at all. And Chad Frankenfield, he doesn't sound too pleased with his qualifying effort here tonight, Chris. Currently 10th on the board, and he's not on the racetrack, so that is the absolute best that he can start here tonight. But he has a couple cars behind him that are still out on the racetrack.
We know he'll send it.
That's why it's called Chad YGP here tonight. And there we go. Chad just got knocked out of the top 10 as Jeremy Millerin moves his way up. Everyone just wrapping up their lap times here. Seth Rawls just finished up his. David Tooker, a couple corners to go. He is the last car currently on the racetrack. This racetrack did used to be I think it was an Air Force base. So it's very, very flat, as you can see as Tooker goes on by here, just wrapping up his lap. So we should be getting down to grid here very shortly. And actually, I'm wrong. He's still coming around with a good way to go until he gets to that start-finish line. 55 seconds left. Quick time thus far, 1 minute 43 seconds here tonight. So just do some quick estimations. Should be looking at about a 37, 38 lap race here tonight, Chris, for the leaders of the GTP. So not too bad. One pit stop, probably about 18 laps in or so. We'll see if that happens. And you know, we do also want to make note here, because we do have viewers from all over North America and around the world, as we have a variety of drivers here. Sending our thoughts to those in Maine after the big shooting there last night. Been following along the coverage. They're still on the hunt for the shooter, so very scary times, and just want to let the people of Maine know that we're thinking about them, and if they're joining us tonight, we're glad to have them along with us. But we are on the grid here. Hamilton Akabize on the pole, followed by Archie Coveney, Jared Bridwell, Ethan Stanley, Ryan Schuld, the top five. As Chad started talking on the background. Ryan Shull, Justin Fortner, Mark Murphy, David Tooker, Colin Culpa, and Jeremy Miller and round out the top 10. Seth Rawls and Chad Frankenfield wrote number 6. That'll do it for the main group of GTPs. Eric Starapoli on the pole for GT3s alongside last week's winner Ryan Kircher. Sean Ryan, Tyler Fody, row number 2. Justin Wadsworth, David Bush, row 3. Corey Abbott, Don Hunter, row number 4. Andrew Way, a GTP, has slotted in 21st alongside Caleb Petchemer. Way will move up past the GT3s and grab onto the rear of that field. Scott Crump, Brant Johnson, 23rd, 24th. Behind them, Stephen Hassett, Justin Vandermarl, Josh Osborne, Casey Hatch, and Justin Bolke. The drivers in green are your GTPs and Chris Wright. And the drivers in yellow are your GT3s. As we can see, the field's starting to grid up. And it looks like we are going to do a full pace lap. Now, Chris, they're just going through a bit of a driver's meeting out on the grid, making sure everyone's aware of the rules here tonight. They're going to have the GT3s just stop on the grid, let those GTPs get by them so they can work their way up to the rest of their grid.
Yeah, there they come. Already. So it's already done.
So Chris is the main race controller here for the IMSA series, so from time to time we may hear him step away to make a bit of a judgment call or something along those lines, but otherwise tonight should be a good race. Chris, I don't think you got to catch too much of practice, but for the GTPs, who's your pick to win here tonight?
I'll take Hamilton.
Yeah, great pick there with Hamilton Akabize. I'm going to go with Ethan Stanley, starting on the second row here, fresh off a dominant win last night in the Montreal Cup race. So I would expect him to have a good shot here tonight. GT3s, Chris, who do you got?
I'll take Tyler Fody on that one.
Yeah, Tyler Fody, good pick. He was very strong last week. I'm gonna go with the newcomer Eric Starapoli. Haven't seen him too much, but we'll see what he can do here tonight. Let's take a look just through the field here. So we do have Andrew Way misclassified here tonight. He's in a GT3, not a GTP. So you might see him in a different color on the leaderboard, but we'll get that updated through tonight's race. As looks like we're getting a little bit closer. We're going to run the track map here tonight, just so you guys know where they are out on the racetrack. It's a little bit of a different setup. I believe there's 19 corners here, Chris. So that's a very long racetrack.
Very tight racetrack too. Gonna be lots of contact there to start.
We're getting set to go green here. Pace car is off. And we are racing here at Sebring. Hamilton, Akabize out front. Archie Coveney there in second behind them. Jared
We got
Bridwell.
Mark Murphy.
Mark Murphy off the racetrack. We'll take a peek at that one. His rear end broken.
Oh, he just gets ran over.
Wow.
Jeremy
Miller. That's a big one. I would say that's probably a tally for you to issue there, Chris.
Yeah.
Colin Copa. Copa has an off-track moment there as Hamilton continues to lead the way. Looking a little bit further back, Eric Staropoli does lead the GT3s, but he has a group of cars all over his rear end as they work their way through the racetrack. Again, folks, apologies for the graphic issues tonight. It is a racetrack issue, not necessarily a broadcast issue. We did everything we could, and all the drivers were complaining about it as well. So they definitely, it's a mass issue there. Oh! Ethan Stanley, my pick to win. Meatball. Wow. Chris, we got to go back and see what just happened to Ethan Stanley. I don't even have a marked point here, so I'm not sure what happened. Oh, he just missed the corner completely. Smashed the tire barriers. That was a big one, Chris. Ethan Stanley likely out of this one.
I still see him driving around.
Yeah, he has a meatball flag, though, so mandatory damage on that one. David Tooker quickly falling through the field here. Tooker on pit road. So some very quick cars. Fody just had an issue. Wadsworth and Kircher all involved. Just a couple of off tracks, it looks like there. Tooker going to leave his pit box. Stanley still out there. His car doesn't look broken, but again, graphic issues at the track tonight, so not sure if he does have damage or not. We have quite a few camera angles here tonight.
Tooker went to pit road avoiding a spin.
Oh, that's right. He was nearly involved with Justin Fortner as we see Hamilton, Akabize, and Archie Coveney out front. I was speaking with the guys at Little Eagle Racing, Chris, and they mentioned that apparently we've said a time or two that Chad Frankenfield's the owner of that team. And apparently we couldn't be further from the truth with that. The team is kind of a conglomerate between Ryan Schuld, Hunter Smith, and Justin Fortner, and then Chad just came along a little bit later. So Chad does not own Little Eagle Racing.
Did you say Chad owns Little Eagle Racing?
I'm going to get text messages after, and those guys are going to be saying that he doesn't own it. Oh, no. But just taking a look here. Justin Vandermarl started at the tail of the GTPs, now running in the 8th spot. So good run so far for Justin Vandermarl. So we're looking through the field here, trying to find some nice battles on the track. Checking out old pork chop there. Corey Abbott currently running in about 8th in class so far. Eric Staropoli goes by the Ethan Stanley machine. Stanley, I believe, has called it a night, Chris. Maybe you can confirm that. But yes. I do believe he's called it quits for the evening. Justin Fortner currently out there in 7th. Seth Rawls in 6th. I don't believe Rawls raced with us 2 weeks ago. If he did, I apologize, but I don't believe he was there. Another guy I don't believe was there either, Jared Bridwell, currently running 3rd in class in the GTPs. Stanley was just issued another meatball, so potentially the engine exploded on that one.
He just came back into the server, so
that could be what the issue is. Maybe he just rejoined. Watching Casey Hatch and Josh Osborne here as Casey Hatch goes off. I just sounded like a pirate as Hatch was sideways. I'm not trying to get your treasure, folks. I'm just yelling about Casey Hatch. Sean Ryan to the lead in GT3s. I missed that one. The Abbott Motorsports number 16 machine of Sean Ryan, currently holding off newcomer Eric Staropoli. The one thing I'm going to say about the Mercedes that Staropoli's in, it brakes really well, but other than that, it is so heavy.
We got side by side for the lead here.
Coveney and Akabize side by side. Like you mentioned, that's for the lead. Track map going to go back up in the top right corner here, so you can pay attention to that. Coveney moves to the race lead ahead of Hamilton Akabize. Jared Bridwell still there in 3rd. This is probably the closest, I was going to say the closest Hamilton would have to deal with this season so far, but he made a late pass 2 weeks ago, did he not, to take the win?
Yeah, he came from about 20 seconds back in the last half hour of that race.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous charge. That's what it was. David Tooker back on the racetrack, trying to work his way up through the GT3s. He's still on the lead lap. Like Chris mentioned, went down pit road a little bit earlier to avoid an incident. I believe it was a tie-up between Justin Fortner and potentially Ethan Stanley as Ryan Kircher goes off the racetrack. Last round's winner, he nearly makes contact with Scott Crump. Scrumpy going to go on by. Typically, it does say Lake Norman on the side of that 90 machine, but today it just says blurry as can be. Ryan Schuld running 4th in GTP. Chad Frankenfield in 5th. I do want to shout out this car. Again, can't really see it, but Warriors for Peace on the side of the Little Eagle Racing cars. Check them out online. Just search Warriors for Peace. It's warriorsforpeace.org, I believe, is the website. Let me just verify that. Big supporter of the Elite Racing League. It looks like Mark Murphy's joined us up here. How's it going, Mark?
Hey guys, you know, it's an early pedestrian tonight. I don't really quite know what happened. Just kind of taking it easy there into that first chicane, and next thing I know, I'm backwards against the fence. So don't really quite know, but I guess I'll take a look at it, figure things out accordingly. But looks like the boys are doing well, right? Schuld and Frankenfield, Fortner all up in the top 7. So at least 3 of the 4 Little Eagle cars are still running good.
Yeah, Schuld 4th, Frankenfield 5th, Fortner in 7th. So those drivers all doing fairly well. Seth Rawls just between them, but good run so far for Little Eagle, and just unfortunate for you, kind of got bowled over on lap 1.
You know, it's, you know, I don't really quite know what to say. I mean, this is probably the first time, as you guys know, I consider myself an awful road racer, and so this is really the first time that I've put up a competitive qualifying run and put together a competitive car for one of these. And it's just it's frustrating, but you know what? That's life. We go on, and I think the next one's what, Mid-Ohio?
I believe you're correct. I believe it is Mid-Ohio coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so that's
maybe next week.
I'm kind of excited for that, and I think the last one's Road America, if I'm not mistaken. And
Road America is always fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I really do. I mean, I think for me, you know, just in my journey trying to get better at road racing, you know, and being an open wheel guy, probably there isn't a car in the sim that drives more like an open wheel car than these GTP cars. I mean, they want to be driven the same way. I kind of feel like, you know, they require a lighter touch. Style is very similar. The way you set them up to go fast is really similar, and so I feel like that helps me, and we're going to tracks that I know, and it's one of the things Ethan Stanley was talking about. Not only did he not have a setup for this place, but when we came here for the open test, but he'd never driven the track before. So I've driven all these tracks and know them pretty well. And, it's a chance to just continue to learn and get better, provided somebody doesn't come from Tallahassee and run in the back of you.
Not sure the distance from Tallahassee to Sebring, but probably pretty far apart.
Tallahassee is in the north central, northeast part of Florida in the Panhandle. Sebring is in the south central part, about near Miami. It'd be probably a 6 or 8 hour drive.
Wow, that's that's definitely pretty far. But you mentioned Ethan Stanley, and we saw him go firewall deep into one of the tire walls not too long ago, destroyed his car out of the race.
Yeah, and that's, Ethan, we were talking a little bit in the open test. Ethan actually didn't have a setup for this place. As you know, he runs the Porsche. I call it the Volkswagen, but he runs the Porsche, and the Porsche, being a fairly new car, doesn't actually have a setup, from a setup shop for this place. And so he was trying to figure it out, running the Indianapolis setup here, which I can't think of 2 tracks that are more different from a composition standpoint than Sebring and Indianapolis. Same in terms of the kinds of corners and stuff, but the suspension, I mean, he had to have been in for a rough ride if he's got the Indianapolis springs and the dampers on there, because Indy billiard table smooth. Sebring is the exact opposite of billiard table smooth.
Well, this is an old Air Force base, I do believe, here at Sebring. So yeah, definitely not the smoothest. It's not really, wasn't made for race cars.
Yeah, I mean, when open wheel cars come test here, this has been the spring training destination for high level U.S. open wheel stuff for forever. And the reason they come here, they run the short course, but the reason they come here is because the first races of the season, St. Pete and Long Beach, are street courses. And the way this track is, the bumps and the way it throws the car around is actually better suited to testing for street course racing than it is for like straight out road courses. It's kind of an interesting thing, really.
It's definitely a unique racetrack. It's very, very flat, which would probably be frustrating for me.
And, it's not bad during the daytime because you got a lot of visual references with the advertising boards, and there's some, you can see like the creases. In some cases it's so bumpy you can see the bumps.
Yeah, I can imagine at nighttime it's just wide open, hard to see.
At nighttime you do lose a lot of the visual references, and unlike Daytona, you see your TV shot there. Unlike Daytona, there are no lights here. And so, you're running along at nighttime in the 12 hours of Sebring, and there are no lights other than what's on the race cars, and it is very, very, very difficult to see. You do lose most of your visual references. So you can't, pick out like the patches and the seams and the stuff in the track. We're watching Starpoli there running second in the GTP class, but now this is going to be worth the price of admission. And watching that guy navigate traffic, I would pay good money to see Chad Frankenfield navigate the GT3 cars. That guy is so I love him to death, that he is notoriously impatient.
Hence the name for the race tonight, the Chad YGP.
Well, and here's Chris. Chris and you and I have raced with Chad a lot. Chad, he's not only notoriously impatient, but he's also very quick. I mean, he started the back of this deal. He's up to 5th, and I think he's got a chance to win a race based on. I know what his strategy is, obviously. You know what I mean? I think he's got a chance to finish on the podium or win a race, and so does Ryan Scholl.
How about Justin Fortner?
Well,
you gotta give the whole team credit. Come on now.
Well, they've fallen back a little bit, but it's one of those where I know what strategy they're going to use, and I've raced against Hamilton Akabwezi a lot. Also,
How did you say it?
Akabwezi, Hamilton Akabuezi.
And how did you say it, Chris, last week?
I just say Hamilton.
I go with Akabize. It's just Hamilton. All right, you mentioned the strategy. What's the strategy here tonight, Mark? Why don't you fill us all in on what Chad's gonna do?
So I want you to watch the pit stops. So you can make roughly 48 minutes on fuel. The race is 90 minutes long, and cold tires are extremely treacherous. So I'll let you two decide what you think is going to happen.
No tires, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think you gotta take tires here.
It's not going to necessarily be no tires, but it's going to be where you get the tires.
You think it's a two-stopper?
No, I think it's a one-stop. It's a clear one-stop. You don't want to make an extra stop in these things because you can't fuel and tires at the same time. So if you
just
make
front
two
tires?
No. I think you're going to get 4, but it's going to be where in that cycle that you get the 4 that you are going to be.
So you said cold tires are treacherous. So you're going to take the tires at the start of the pit stop.
It's either going to be an extreme overcut or an extreme undercut, somewhere within that window of time, right? Between 48 minutes to go and whenever 48 minutes ends. Right?
So it's still going to be a pretty small window.
It's going to be a window within 2 or 3 laps. Remember, traffic is going to play into that too. This track is not easy to pass at. It's not easy to get around those GT3 cars, especially on the infield piece. The straight stuff, the front and the back straight, it's easy because you've got so much power. But in the twisty bits, like for example, from this run where you see Sean Ryan going through here, these S curves, right? This bit you can pass on. Coming down to this hairpin, if you don't pass this GT car here by this hairpin, you're not getting around him again. You're gonna have to follow him through the hairpin. They're slower through the hairpin, obviously, but you're not quick enough to get around him. And then you're gonna have to follow him, for another half a straight and hope you get past. So, who stops where and in what part of traffic you're in, and where you think you're gonna come out at, is a huge, huge piece of this. Not to mention, when you come out, you're going to be on cold tires, and it's going to be skatey for about 3 laps. The other thing is, we started this race in the morning, Chris. What's the track going to do?
It's going to get slicker, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to get hot, and it's going to get slick. So if you take those new tires early, there's a chance you're going to run them off. I would expect to see whoever wins this race to go as long as possible, and they're going to have some luck when it comes to they're gonna have to have some luck when it comes to how they come out. Because if you come out behind a pack of GT cars, they're gonna lose 10 seconds a lap, and they're gonna be on cold tires, and they're gonna be frustrated, and there you go. Maybe not as frustrated as I am right now, but pretty frustrated.
Well, you talk about Chad having a shot to win. He's already 30 seconds back. I think it's a 3-horse race, in my opinion. No matter what happens with the pace stuff.
Well, but look, here's what you don't know, okay? I know the setups in our cars, and I know how they're set up. As you can kind of tell, Schulte's starting to pull back in on the front 4 a little bit, and so is Chad, right? So is Justin. They're starting to reel him back in a little bit because we set our cars up for a long run. Hamilton is very notorious on the open wheel side for setting up his cars to be brutally quick, but they will fall off. Archie, I haven't raced against enough to know a tendency, but Hamilton was always one of those guys. He would be brutal fast, but he might not have the longevity. Our cars are set up to run the full 48 minutes. When I was testing, I ran my fastest lap on lap 24 of the fuel. So, that's how our cars are set up. The other guys, you don't know. They may not be that way.
Yeah, but I feel like once everybody gets strung out and you're working traffic, nobody's going to be able to really meet the lap time that they could run. So even if you're faster than a guy, you've given up. You can't afford to give up 30 seconds in the first 10 laps of the race and expect to overcome that.
Well, that's true. I mean, I'm
Oh, we got a
also
wreck
thinking-
down here. Josh Osborne that's wrecked with, is that Tyler Fody?
Neat paint scheme on that Osborne.
Taking a look on the Robilus photography replay machine. It's showing as Lake Norman on the Caleb Pettimer machine. I don't think he is. He might be, but I don't believe he is.
I think Fody's imported some people for this thing.
Oh. Yeah,
That was a bit optimistic. You got to follow the GT3 car through there. The rule of
it's a
thumb.
tight corner. The GT3, yes, he kind of comes. Oh, Scott Crump just crashed, but yes, the GT3 comes across a little bit, but Osborne didn't need to make that lunge, which is what he did,
No.
and that's what caused that.
The rule is, and I don't know how much endurance racing you guys do, but the rule is that the GT3 cars have the right of way. It's up to the prototypes to drive around.
Yeah, it's always the faster cars supposed to work their way around. As we watch Crump, he just lost it by himself.
Now that's easy to do, you know, and again, we don't know how.
He just lost it again entering pit road. Sorry about that, Mark. Scott Crump just absolutely nosed it into the pit wall.
You know, and here's something else you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what kind of downforce those guys are running. You know what I mean? I don't see any wickers on the back of that front wing, and I don't see any of the extenders on the front. They might be running a low downforce setup, and if they're doing that, you could, that's one of the things I was talking about with Hamilton and Archie. If they've taken all the downforce off, they're going to be rockets for about 10 laps. But they're going to cook those Michelins, and it's going to be a long day at the beach from there. Our cars are set up for max downforce, max handling, and tire preservation. You know what I mean? So there's definitely going to be some. I see a little Eagle car navigating around Crump. Thankfully, gets through there.
We got somebody in trouble in a red car over here.
Casey Hatch had a off-track issue. I think that's who you're talking about, Chris.
Thanks for having me up here, guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna think about this for
Mark, you got sponsors you want to thank before you leave us?
You know I do.
They didn't really get TV time tonight with the graphic issue.
No, that's okay. I gotta thank first of all, Chad, Justin, and Ryan, Illegal Racing. Those guys worked with me for 2 hours the other day and dropped my lap times by 3 seconds. So
that's impressive.
Well, you look great for that one corner.
I gotta thank them. I hit the braking zone for the one corner I was in.
Yeah.
Right?
You looked really sporty on the grid.
Man,
Yeah,
I gotta
I
be
gotta
honest. I just smiled right there for the first time when I said that, and it kind of hurt my face.
I gotta thank them guys. Obviously, Black Magic Designs and Race First, they've been helping out forever. Shout out to all the guys at Velocity Online Racing, Julian and Josh. Those guys are going to come run the Elite Open Wheel Series with us for a little bit. And we're kind of collaborating with them on some behind-the-scenes stuff. So it's always cool to see those relationships bear fruit. And if you need a button box, I got a guy that'll help you out. Admin Box. Those guys, makers of custom button boxes. And, those things are awesome. And then lastly, 4D Racewear. I got to thank Jim Herrick for the shoes and the gloves. He's a really cool dude. And need some shoes. Go see Jim over at 4D. But anyway, I'll let you guys get back to your deal. I'll stop reading decals off the side of my car. Eat me a Big Jim's cookie and get me some coffee. And head on down.
Well, enjoy your cookie, Mark. Thanks for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you next round at, I believe it's Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, we'll do it. Thank you, guys.
Well, Chris, that was Mark Murphy joining us after his night was cut very, very short here tonight. I found a way to show the cars, so that's always nice. We're just pulling their schemes directly from Trading Paints onto an overlay.
whatever works. Oh, Tooker has left.
David Tooker had an issue, departed the server. Taking a look, Justin Fortner currently running in that 5th spot. He was able to work his way by both Seth Rawls and Chad Frankenfield. So Frankenfield kind of going backwards here. Casey Hatch had himself an off track, which has led to a tow to the pits. So we'll take a look at that one. I'm assuming he ended up in the wall. It's a weird racetrack here. Oh, yeah, he nailed the tires on the left side of the car. And that has brought him pit side in the number 14 machine for, I think he's driving for Fuel Up. I don't know where he drives anymore. Taking a look at the GT3 class. Their leader currently running 13th overall. It's Sean Ryan leading the way in that class over Eric Staropoli and Tyler Fody. That's the top 3 of GT3, followed by Justin Wadsworth and David Bush III. That's the top 5 in GT3. Top 5 in GTP and overall is Archie Coveney out front, out of the UK, followed by Hamilton Akabize, Jared Bridwell, Ryan Schultz, and Justin Fortner. That is your top 5 here, nearly 30 minutes in to the Chad YGP, as Justin Fortner decided he was going to step on it. He dives by some of the GT3s. That was a balls of steel drive right there by Justin Fortner. As I believe he's coming up on one of the top 5 cars in that, no, it was the 6th place Ryan Kircher machine in GT3. Fortner flashing the lights again, letting David Bush III know he's coming on by. Just a really different racetrack here. We're going to go on board for a lap with Justin Fortner to take a look at what it's like behind the wheel of a GTP at Sebring. That was a lap on board with Justin Fortner in the number 26 Warriors for Peace machine. Eric Staropoli had issues, was running top 3 in GT3, and then ended up pulling over for a little bit. Josh Osborne decided he was going to have himself a little off-track moment there. He's coming up on, I believe that to be Sean Ryan. Yeah, Sean Ryan just got by now. Osborne side by side with Chad Frankenfield. Frankenfield going to go by the Sean Ryan machine. Ryan, the GT3 leader, currently scored in 12th. 10 cars currently on the lead lap with Archie Coveney Hamilton, Akabize, Jared Bridwell out front in GTP, followed by Sean Ryan, Tyler Fody, and Justin Wadsworth in GT3. This is the Chad White GP on the Elite Racing Network, live from Sebring. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 2 minutes' time.
Easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back. It's the Chad Y GP live from Sebring, round number 2 of the Elite Sports Car Series. Currently watching Archie Coveney out front, but rapidly closing in 0.3 of a second back. Hamilton Akabize, last round's winner, closing that gap. Then it's 12 seconds back to Jared Bridwell, 30 seconds back to Ryan Schultz, 40 to Justin Fortner, 47 back to Chad Frankenfield, a minute back to Seth Rawls, and then everyone else a minute or more behind. And then taking a look at GT3, it's Sean Ryan, the leader in that class, ahead of Tyler Fody. Fody in second. Ryan Kircher, last round's winner, in third. David Bush, the third, in fourth. And Andrew Way in fifth, as Josh Osborne, the 11th place GTP, has an issue. He goes off the racetrack, nearly joins ahead of Jeremy Millerin. Now he's going to back up, try to get that machine spun back around. That got a little hairy as he rejoins the racetrack, nearly into a 3-wide battle with a GT3 and a GTP out here on the racetrack. Chris, third of the way into this one. What are your thoughts on what we've seen thus far?
It's been a lot calmer than I thought. Only 2 tallies handed out so far, so way cleaner than I thought.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race so far. I think there hasn't really been a ton of battles on the track. I mean, just looking through, there's only 2 cars within even a second of each other, and they're side by side. David Bush III and Don Hunter, as Hunter just got by him. Everyone else, Chris, is about 3 seconds to 2 minutes apart, some of them. It's a really spread out race at this point. Everyone just out there trying to see what they can do, have themselves a good race. Jeremy Millerin just had another incident. Looks like he got the tires this time. I think he's going to take it pit side, and lucky for him, not too far to go to get to the pits, I do believe. I might be wrong. He's missing the front end of that race car. Again, for those of you just joining us, yes, we're aware of the graphic issue here tonight. It is an issue with the track itself. Unfortunate Unfortunately, not something we have the ability of modifying or fixing in any way possible. So you're going to have the overlay of the cars here tonight just so you can see the beautiful paints that these guys have. You can kind of see what Archie Coveney is running on his race car out there on the track, but still a little blurry, and others with sponsors on the side, such as Justin Vandermeer. That just looks like a blur on the side, but it's Fueled Up Racing. Seth Rawls, he's running a big rainbow, but I think he's got his SR Designs logo on the side. And you look at the Little Eagle cars of Frankiefield, Fortner, and Schuld, all carrying Warriors for Peace on the side of that. That's warriorsforpeace.org. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, since we did just come back from a commercial break. Blue Egg Marketing is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. You heard from TA Services moments ago, and another one of our premier partners is Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway, in Madison, Illinois, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And of course, no series sponsor here in the sports car series, so no sponsored shout out there, but check out all the sponsors that you see on these race cars. Taking a look here at Sean Ryan, the Abbott Motorsports machine, currently leading the way in GT3 by 11 seconds over the Tyler Fode machine. So great run thus far for, I was going to say for Corey Abbott, but for Sean Ryan, as he's running well ahead of the Tyler Fode machine. So he's just got to make sure that tonight he just has a nice clean run, goes out there, does his thing, and doesn't mess up, and he'll be on his way to a victory. A little bit further back, we'll take a look at a car that we haven't talked about much tonight, but this guy always supports us, and I apologize, the overlay really messing up the Brant Johnson machine. But the number 9 Brant Johnson Square Motorsports machine, I believe he's from Australia, might be from New Zealand. I always mess up those flags, Chris. But he's got an accent anyways. It's Brant Johnson. And shout out to Brant. Always a good supporter of us here on the Elite Racing Network. Not too far behind him. Wow. Right as we look at Scott Crump, he destroyed the race car. So that's the number 90 Lake Norman Motorsports machine. And it is heavily damaged. As Justin Fortner goes way off the racetrack, he gathers it back up from 5th. Everyone else continuing on. Colin Culpa, the last car on the lead lap, currently scored in position number 9. Not too far ahead of the race leader, I believe about 30 seconds, so about 2/3 of a lap down. So we did a lap on board a GTP car not too long ago, and since there's not really too many battles on the racetrack, we're going to do a lap on board with the GTP leader, or GT3, sorry, of Sean Ryan. And we are back right as we hear a call out from Tyler Fody indicating that he's going to pit this time, Chris, as we are getting close to the pit stops. Here comes the GT3 leader, Sean Ryan, down pit road for his first stop of the day. Ryan down pit road, Fody also down pit road. Somebody just said they're pitting in. Maybe Brant Johnson. Andrew Way pitting in here. So the GT3's coming down for their stops, Chris. Corey Abbott hitting pit road.
They can run about 50 minutes, so their window's opened. We're going to have to wait another 5 or 6, I think, for the other group.
Yeah, I think, like Mark Murphy mentioned, it's going to be a one-stopper here for just about everybody, actually. I think everyone can do one stop here today. Coveney, Akabize, Bridwell still lead in GTP. Don Hunter still on the racetrack in GT3, as well as David Bush III. Sean Ryan was the leader when they came down pit road, still slots in third, so he will retake the lead when the two leaders of GT3 come down pit road here, which should likely be in the next lap or two. I would probably expect this lap. Looking in the field, closest battle is the battle for the lead, and that's almost 7/10 apart. So no battles going on the racetrack. It's kind of turned just into a track day. Everyone out there just doing laps, trying to figure out how to road race, which I think they all know how to do. We do have a battle here, though. It's Scott Crump and Corey Abbott. Abbott just got by Scott Crump, so Crump drops to 9th in class. Abbott works his way back to 8th as Abbott briefly steps off the racetrack. Gets a little bit slideways. Caleb Petchemer just comes back off of pit road. The 11th place GT3 is Don Hunter. Going to come down pit road now from the GT3 lead. David Bush III coming around the racetrack, and he's going to stay out. So David Bush III will be the last of the GT3s to come down pit road, and he's going to go at least another lap. Now we are halfway through this one, just about halfway through. Just 27 seconds or so until that. Josh Osborne comes down pit road. Looks like he's going to be done for the day. That's your 10th place GTP as we watch David Bush III see if he opts to come down pit road this time. Crump also on pit road. Looks like he's trashed that machine. We'll see if he can work his way back onto the racetrack here. And Chris, just an update here. Jeremy Miller has issued an apology to Mark Murphy for the lap 1 incident, so hopefully that's all cleared up. As, wow, David Bush III still staying on the racetrack. He's going to try to stretch it all the way to empty.
Well, he could run probably 5 more minutes, 6 more minutes. Right around 50 probably for those guys, maybe longer. I know that seagulls fly in a flock.
The Little Eagle racing all down pit road together. Schuld, Fortner, Frankenfield, Justin Vandermarl's down pit road. Colin Culpa coming down as well. So in GTP, it's just the top 4 that have yet to pit. And in GT3, it is just David Bush III as Seth Rawls locks it up in his GTP machine. Hamilton Akabize and Archie Coveney come down pit road. So your top 2 race leaders have worked their way to pit road here. Should hand the lead over to Jared Bridwell, but I would probably expect him to come down pit road this time as well, considering the rest of the class has worked their way to the pits. Here comes Bridwell. He's going to come down now. Seth Rawls, the next car that we're watching. We'll see if he opts to come down pit road. Still a good bit back from those leaders is Rawls. He took all the paint and threw it on his car here tonight, Chris. That's for sure. As David Bush III did just come down pit road in GT3, that hands the lead back over to Sean Ryan, as well as Tyler Fody and Ryan Kircher. That's the top 3 in GT3. Seth Rawls still working his way around the racetrack. Archie Coveney already on his way out, as is Hamilton Akabize. So I don't even think Rawls would take over the race lead. No, he wouldn't if he did opt to stay out. So I'd expect Seth Rawls in the 27 machine to be pit side this time. And here he comes. So Rawls to pit road. That does complete round number 1 of pit stops. Everyone has been down pit road, with the exception of, well, Mark Murphy. Taking a look for any battles on the racetrack. Let's check out the leaders, Hamilton Akabize and Archie Coveney. Akabize overtook Coveney, so move Akabize out to that race lead. We just try to correct a little overlay issue there. There we go. Akabize is no longer on pit road, as per our overlay. Justin Fortner overtakes Seth Rawls, moves him back to 5th. Frankenfield going to do the same this time. So we'll see how far Seth Rawls falls, as we apparently are poets now. Rawls falls. Frankenfield the 6th. Culpa should overtake as well. Justin Vandermarl has disappeared. Did Vandermarl call it quits, Chris?
Yeah, he just pulled in and parked.
Wow. Justin Vandermarl retires running in that 9th spot, so I think he's kind of locked in to the 9th place position, in class anyways, because Sean Ryan should overtake him here in a couple laps. Ryan running 10th, but leading GT3, so a strong run for the GT3 leader, as Coveney has an off-track moment, as does Seth Rawls a little bit further back. The cold tires coming into play, as Mark Murphy had mentioned, as we see Coveney and Akabize. Hey! Oh no, Chris! Archie Coveney Rear end
no.
gone.
On.
Rear end is gone on the Archie Coveney machine. Not sure which of the GT3s that was.
That's on Archie, though. I mean,
That's
he knew the
definitely
GT3 was
on
there.
Archie. Just trying to find who that was. That Justin Wadsworth? That was. Yeah, Coveney just ends up hooking himself off the nose of Justin Wadsworth. That's another case of a GTP just overstepping a little bit. Heavy rear end damage for Archie Coveney. Chad Frankenfield just assessed a furled up black flag. Looks like he's going to be okay, as I believe that was Petchemer just had an off track, gathers it back up. We'll see if Coveney opts to pit here. I think he's driving past pit road this time, so he should be okay to stay out, but heavy damage on the rear end of the Archie Coveney, number 19. Definitely not going to help him in his quest to chase down victory.
Yeah, I think he'd be faster pitting, getting a rear end put on it. He's off the course again. And back on. He's really struggling.
Back on the racetrack, Hamilton Akabize is your leader by now 13 seconds over Archie Coveney. Coveney, I think his damage is pretty substantial, Chris. He's lost quite a bit of time, continues to lose time, and continues to lose handling on that race car. So I'd expect Bridwell, Schuld, Fortner, etc. to work their way up and battle for podium positions here tonight. Sean Ryan, the leader in GT3, Tyler Fody second, and Ryan Kircher running third, followed by Justin Wadsworth and Andrew Way. That's the top five in GT3. Jeremy Millerin just had himself a moment on the racetrack, gathers it back up. And this is our closest battle we have right now. Andrew Way, Don Hunter, separated by about 0.8 of a second. So everyone else still pretty spread out, as sounds like Seth Rawls just had a moment. Yes, he did. There he goes. Taking a look at the Robilus Photography Replay Machine. Check out robilusphoto.com for all your photography needs. Seth Rawls, another GTP, getting a little aggressive with the GT3s. Ends up overstepping, and, well, he stepped on himself there, Chris.
Yeah.
Lead now 16 seconds. Akabize over Coveney. Only 6 cars still on the lead lap at this point as well. And I think that's going to rapidly change. Frankfield only 20 seconds ahead of the race leader, Hamilton Akabize. So not too large of a gap there.
I'm really surprised Archie hasn't pitted.
I think he's just trying to see what he can get, but I think he's hurting himself a lot more than he's benefiting right now. Like he's only 14 seconds ahead of Bridwell at this point, so just taking a look through. And Chris, you know, it's the racing's interesting here tonight. Just not a lot of big moves or big action going on out on the track, so it's been a little bit slower than we would like. And you know what, why don't we go ahead and give an update since it's Thursday Night Football going on. Currently 9 minutes 52 seconds left in the second quarter. The Buffalo Bills up 10-0 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There you go. There's your football update.
Buffalo should win. They're winning now, but there's been a lot of upsets in the NFL the past couple weeks.
That's right. Well, let's we've taken laps on board clean cars, and we've taken laps on board GTP, GT3. Let's take a lap on board with a broken car of Archie Coveney and see what he's dealing with out there in the number 19 machine. We are back. Here's the Chad YGP live on the Elite Racing Network. Hamilton Akabize leading by 21 seconds over Archie Coveney. Coveney was running a lot closer to Akabize until he came together with the lap car of Justin Wadsworth a little while ago. Now falling back rapidly through the field, going to be in the clutches of Jared Bridwell here within the next couple of laps. Then taking a look at GT3, it's Sean Ryan leading the way over Tyler Fody and Ryan Kircher. That is the top three in GT3 as Justin Fortner has an off track. He thought he was going to build a sand castle and came back on after the bully kicked down that sand castle out on the beach. Not able to finish it up. No fancy moat for Fortner here today. Just some vanished hopes and dreams of a beautiful sandcastle. But we're going to step away for about 2 minutes time. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of the Chad YGP live on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
That was a ride on board with the field, and Tyler Fody not happy with somebody, and I just found out who it was, Chris. It was the 15 of Chad Frankenfield. We're going to back this up and see what happened between those two. So Frankenfield dove to the inside of Fody, nearly wrecked him, sent Fody way off the racetrack. Yeah, I could see why Fody wasn't too happy there, Chris.
Yeah.
So taking a look here, battles coming soon for second overall. About 5.9 seconds separate Archie Coveney and Jared Bridwell. Coveney heavily damaged rear end on that machine. Bridwell still in pretty good shape, so just trying to chase down Archie Coveney at this point. Other than that, no real battles on the racetrack. Frankenfield apologizing to Fody. So, Chris, obviously last night, Ethan Stanley dominated at Montreal in the joinAPS.com Cup Series race. Did a really phenomenal job. I think he won by like 35 seconds or something like that, which is absolutely phenomenal for him. So, congratulations to Ethan Stanley on that. And speaking of the Cup Series, heard a little bit of silly season news today that came out in regards to Do Good Racing. So, the team owned by Michael Goodman and Dustin Dewar, they have signed former race winner Brandon Key, as well as multi-time elite champion Ethan Burrell to join their Cup program next season. So some big signings over there for Do Good, and that kicks off silly season, which I know is about to heat up here over the next couple of weeks. This continues to be the closest battle on track, Coveney and Bridwell, and the gap is 4 seconds between them. Everyone else separated by a pretty decent margin at this point.
Yeah, but anything can happen out here with all the traffic. Mixed class. You saw it with Chad and Tyler.
That's exactly it. Anything can happen here with these drivers. You know, Fody trying to hold off Kircher. Kircher actually closing in a little bit here on Tyler Fody. Should get him within the next handful of laps, about 3 seconds separating the two of them there. And I think Kircher might just be a little bit quicker at this point. Actually, taking a look at their lap times. Yeah, Ryan Kircher, 2 seconds, actually 3 seconds quicker than Tyler Fody. So, might even catch him this lap. Oh, he's caught him. Actually, no, Fody's catching a lap car, which will help Ryan Kircher close that gap a little bit. Sean Ryan starting to, well, actually, he's really pulled away from second place Tyler Fody. That's an 18-second gap between those two drivers. So, no real concern for Sean Ryan at this point as he goes ahead and, well, he's going to play the blinkers a little bit. Let Caleb Pretchemer know that he's coming by. And Caleb, I keep messing up your name, I know, that's for sure. Ethan Stanley comes down pit road. He's currently 10th in class in GTP, despite being 10 laps down overall. He was able to pass Justin Vandermarl and Josh Osborne, as well as David Tooker and Casey Hatch, who all had issues. Again, Mark Murphy. Murphy's completed laps here today, Chris, 0.03. So that's tough for Mark Murphy.
Yeah, and he came up and talked about it a little bit. He was pretty frustrated.
Yeah, good to have Mark up with us here, talking about what he had going on here. Watching Jared Bridwell, we're going to ride on his nose cam as he's working by some of the slower GT3 traffic. Hey, Chris, I think he heard us. Rejoining the racetrack is Mark Murphy. He wants to get at least one lap completed. He's going to do whatever he can to get at least one lap in the books. He could actually gain a spot or two if he gets by Casey Hatch and Steven Hassett. So he only has to complete about 8 laps here. Don't know that he's going to necessarily have enough time, depending on the damage and the speed in his car, to get by Hassett. But he should for sure be able to get by Casey Hatch, who he should get in about probably 14 minutes time as Mark Murphy goes off track. Scott Crump just crashed on the racetrack. He is backwards. Now spins his car back around. Stuck in the wall. That's unfortunate. Just to point out here, Chris, battle heating up for second overall. Jared Bridwell, less than a second back now. Actually, about 3/10 back of Archie Coveney, and now he just slides on by. Move Jared Bridwell to second. Ethan Stanley. Ooh, Stanley just absolutely annihilated his race car. That number 91 machine is done for the day. Likely to need a full replacement on that thing. Just steps on it, overcorrects, and it snaps backwards. Unfortunate for Ethan Stanley. Done for the evening. Your leader, Hamilton Akabize, by 38 seconds over Jared Bridwell. 38.7 ahead of Archie Coveney. And the only two cars left on the lead lap aside from the top three, Ryan Schuld, 1.1, actually a minute 18 back, and Justin Fortner, a minute 25 to the rear of Hamilton Akabize. So the top five all on the lead lap, probably finish with 3 on the lead lap here in just about 18 minutes time. So Hamilton Akabize and company having a very, very strong race here so far tonight, and getting down to the closing stages of this one. And we'll take a look at the GT3 class. Let's break this down by class just so you can see the leaders, and that of course got a little choppy. We'll go back to overall. Sean Ryan leads Tyler Fody by 17 seconds, Ryan Kircher by 20, and Justin Wadsworth 31 seconds back. That is your top 4 in GT3, and then it's Andrew Way 45 seconds back of the leaders. And we're going to take one final break here as the action calms down a little bit in the Chad White GP. We'll be back in about 3 minutes' time. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back at the Chad YGP. Apologies for the silence there. Had to step away for a moment. Hamilton Akabize continues to lead by 35 seconds over Jared Bridwell, 45 over Archie Coveney, a minute 22 over Ryan Schuld, and a minute 27 over Justin Fortner. Looking back at GT3, we had a change for the lead, Chris. Tyler Fody now leads by 10 seconds. Not sure what happened to Sean Ryan. Looks like he went down pit road. Are these guys due for another pit stop, Chris, in GT3?
Only if they pitted too soon.
So Tyler Fody last pit on lap 20, currently on lap 39.6. Does he have an extra 8 laps in the tank? I don't know. So behind him, Sean Ryan and Ryan Kircher have pit already. Looks like Seth Rawls on pit road. Think he had an issue a little bit earlier. Hamilton Akabize continues to lead. He last pit on lap 27. I don't expect GTP to come back down unless they have an issue. But Fody out front, he must think Brent Jones is up here in the booth, Chris. Anytime Brent's here, he's always got Fody winning the race. Well, Fody, Brent Jones isn't here. So it's Akabize, your leader once again. Over Jared Bridwell and Archie Coveney. And then in GT3, like I mentioned, Tyler Fody, Sean Ryan, and Ryan Kircher. As Chad Frankenfield briefly went off the racetrack. Able to gather it back up. Now, Chris, as we get down to the late portions of the race, I think no matter what, your pick's going to do better than mine.
Yeah, I stepped out on a pretty solid limb.
You took that low-hanging fruit. That's what you did. But I don't blame you, because Hamilton Akabize has proven to be exceptional in these GTP cars. And I honestly believe we're going to finish with 4 cars on the lead lap. I think he's going to catch Justin Fortner here as Tyler Fody finally comes down pit road. Sean Ryan should retake the lead in GT3. He's going to come around and do so now. So move Sean Ryan back to the GT3 lead. Tyler Fody going to fall here. Kircher about 20 seconds back of Fody. I think Fody's going to come out about 5th in class. But taking a look, Way, Hunter, and the others still have to pit again as Colin Culpa just had a moment. That's your 7th place GTP. He's going to come back around, but he'll probably have to serve a slowdown of sorts there. Seth Rawls still on pit road. Andrew Way comes down. That is now the 6th place GT3. Should point out here, great exit by Fody. Came back out in the 3rd spot in class. Only 3 seconds behind Ryan Kircher. So may be able to catch Kircher and work his way to 2nd. Otherwise, solid day here today for Tyler Fody. Take a look here. Ryan Schuld currently running 4th in GTP. A minute 30 back of the leaders, and a minute 37 back of the leaders is Justin Fortner. Both of these drivers coming to us out of Indiana, so not no strangers to this road course stuff. as Akabize has taken 3 laps to go. 3 minutes to go. Probably 2 laps remain here for Hamilton Akabize. We'll do another run through the field here real quick. Your leader, Hamilton Akabize, ahead of Jared Bridwell. Bridwell having a strong run in the 09 machine. Third is Archie Coveney, the number 19 car. Rear end damage on that thing. Ryan Schuld currently running 4th. Justin Fortner in 5th. Chad Frankenfield in 6th. 7th is Colin Culpa. That's your GTPs. Then Sean Ryan leading the GT3s over Ryan Kircher. Tyler Fody in 3rd. Don Hunter 4th. David Bush III in 5th. Justin Wadsworth currently running 6th. Andrew Way 7th. Corey Abbott in 8th. And the next car still on the track is Jeremy Millerin. That's your 9th place GTP. Followed by the 10th place GTP of Ethan Stanley. And then Mark Murphy still on track. Currently the 14th place GTP, trying to work his way forward as Ryan Schuld had an off-track moment, gathered it back up, and does continue on with just 2.5 minutes to go. Where Akabize is on the racetrack, he may see the white flag this time by. It's going to be pretty close. I'm not sure if he will or not, but good potential that the white flag is in hand and getting ready to come out. Just taking a look here, Justin Fortner not too far ahead of Hamilton Akabize. He's going to want that lap traffic to come into play and hold Akabize back a little bit here so he can get himself a lead lap finish. We'll take a look here as they come around, and we'll see if Barney the Flagman has the white flag in hand or not. Akabize coming through some of the final sets of corners here. Gonna be on the start-finish straightaway momentarily with 1:30 to go. I would expect the white flag to come this time, but we'll see. Barney the Flagman may have a different opinion than I. Akabize gonna come through here. This map all sorts of confusing. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Hamilton Akabize. Your leader in GTP leads by 40 seconds over Jared Bridwell and 53 seconds over Archie Coveney, Sean Ryan, Ryan Kircher, and Tyler Fody. Your GT3 podium as of right now. We're going to watch, actually, Don Hunter coming down pit road, not able to make it to the finish here. We're going to watch and see if Akabize can put the Justin Fortner machine a lap down on the final lap. Fortner currently running 5th, 1:45 to the rear of the Hamilton Akabize machine. Off the nose of Akabize here, you can see the Justin Fortner 26 machine. Warriors for Peace, Little Eagle Racing car. I wish Hamilton Akabize had a sponsor. We'd be reading that off here. We'll just say sponsored by New Jersey at this point. So he's going to come around, close in on the Justin Fortner machine. If I'm Fortner, I'm going to make my car plenty wide here and just see if I can keep Akabize to the rear. I don't think Akabize is going to really push too hard. And who knows, Fortner may want to just let him go so he doesn't have to do another lap. That could be a thing too, as he has not yet faced the white flag in Justin Fortner. But Hamilton Akabize gonna close in on the finish line here, getting closer and closer to that final set of corners. Here he comes. It's the 13 of Hamilton Akabize, winner of round number 1. He's gonna go 2 for 2 on the season. Hamilton Akabize takes the victory in the GTP class. Sean Ryan, your winner in GT3. Ryan Kircher second in that class, and Tyler Fody gonna round out that podium. Taking a look back at GTP, here he comes through the final sets of corners momentarily. It's going to be Jared Bridwell coming home in that second spot. Great run tonight by Bridwell. He has had himself a great debut. Archie Coveney, he's going to come home in third. Ryan Schuld, Justin Fortner fixing to round out the top 5 here. And rounding out the top 5 in GT3, David Bush the third and Justin Wadsworth. Chris, not as many battles as I would have wanted to see here tonight, but I think still a fairly strong race for these guys, putting on a nice show and just showing us what they can do here on a very flat racetrack.
Yeah, it was totally different from that Daytona race. A lot less chaotic, a lot more give and take out here. I think is why the race was so much cleaner.
Definitely a lot more give and take. Some drivers decided to have a little bit more take than we might have liked throughout the event, but still a really strong run. And I'm seeing Sean Ryans join the waiting room here, Chris. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. You can kick off the interview and then throw it to me for any final questions. So we'll go ahead and bring in your winner of GT3, Sean Ryan.
Sean, a great run. Take us through your night and how you managed to win the thing.
Yeah, no, I'm kinda surprised with how straightforward it was. I did not come into this race with winning speed, I don't think, looking at practice and qualifying, but I was aggressive off the start because that's what you need to do to put cars between you and the GTPs. Got up to the front, and everyone else just had a worse day.
Yeah, there was. We felt like the race was a lot cleaner than last week, though. Would you agree with that?
While I would say that it was clean in the fact that all the GTPs passed me, fine. I didn't have any issues with any traffic. I definitely saw a lot of people falling off the relative and falling off the track. So I think cleaner in the sense of maybe incidents, but I think there was a bit more people struggling to cope with the bumps of Sebring.
Robert, I'll hand you off to Robert. Congrats on the win again, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sean finished second last round out at Daytona. Came home the winner here tonight. What is it about these GT3 cars that seems to suit your driving style and I think the road courses in general, because you've been pretty good on them in the past?
Yeah, I mean, road is my main discipline. I started iRacing driving the Miatas, not driving the street stocks. I've just spent a ton of time in them, and being able to work with the heavy nature of the GT3s and being smart with where the car likes to go and where it doesn't like to go, and I mean, just driving within the limits of the car, I tend to be able to find the limit and stay at it for a good portion of the race. So experience and a little bit of left foot talent.
Definitely need that left foot talent to be successful on these road courses. And looking ahead to next round out, which is in 2 weeks, November 9th, we go to Watkins Glen with the boot. How you feeling about that one? You think you can grab another victory?
I love Watkins Glen. I mean, I'm always running, up at the front of the pack whenever it comes around in the officials. So to say I was confident, would be an understatement. But at the same token, I think the Porsche with in the hands of Ryan and Fody, it's going to be a hard battle. If everything goes to plan, it's going to be a close one, I think.
Absolutely. And Sean, just before we let you go here today, any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Corey Abbott of Abbott Motorsports for putting the team together and running these races with me. It's always a good time over hanging out with him, and I appreciate the work he does behind the scenes to keep us together. And I'd like to thank Andrew Hardcastle, who put my paint scheme together tonight. Though I haven't paid him back for it yet and need to. I'm sorry, Andrew, but I will get that to you. And thanks to my mother, who I think tuned in to watch tonight. I don't know if she's still watching. It might be past her bedtime, but if she still is, then thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. And Sean, once again, congratulations on the win.
Thanks, man.
That was Sean Ryan, your GT3 winner, Chris. And now I do see Hamilton at Gabize hanging out in the waiting room. I'll go ahead and pull him in. I'll kick it off, and I'll throw it over to you for final questions. Hamilton, welcome to Victory Lane once again. What was it about this race tonight that really just suited your driving style? Because it seemed like you were able to really dominate this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was this track I enjoy it sometimes, but it's really difficult for sure. And I just I'd say like I fuel saved a lot that first run for sure, and that made the difference because I got by at the pit stop just after the mistake I made like 5 laps in. I was just like, all right, I'll just try and out fuel save him, and that worked out. And then I see had that Archie had the accident afterwards, but yeah, that was a fun race. Traffic's pretty difficult around here for sure, and but yeah, just fun track to race. Always love these cars.
Yeah, definitely seems like you do love them. You won at Daytona a couple weeks ago, won again tonight. Looking ahead to Watkins Glen in a couple of weeks, and then the season finale at Road Atlanta. You think you could just have a clean sweep of the series, or what?
Archie's always really close, so I think it'll be again close between me and him. Maybe Ethan Stanley. He was quick at Daytona, so it could always be close at those two. But I feel pretty good. Watkins Glen, I'll need to put some laps in, but Road Atlanta, I had already put in like 300, 400 laps for Petit Le Mans, so I should be pretty solid there. I was actually in the Acura for that, so have to get laps in with this car. But yeah, should be fun, and hopefully top 3 to a win.
Absolutely. And just before I hand it over to Chris Wright for final questions, we've kind of debated on this with ourselves and some other drivers. Can you clarify for us how you say your last name?
Akabuizi.
All right, we were totally wrong.
Nah, it's everyone, it's a little off, but I don't really mind,
It's definitely unique, and definitely one we're gonna have to practice before the next round. But I'll toss it over to Chris right here for final questions. But once again, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really don't have any questions for you, Hamilton. It was a great drive last week to get the win, a great drive tonight. So congrats on back-to-back wins here, and we look forward to seeing who can go out there and give you a race for your money next week. It's like you spend the first half letting these boys get a little bit of confidence, and you totally take it away in the second half. So congrats on the win. Are there any sponsors you want to thank, shout-outs you want to give?
Well, just shout out Nexus Esports. They're helping me out a lot on the oval side. I'm running this alone, but always just hanging out with them during the race and all that stuff. And then thanks to you guys for the broadcast and everything and putting the series on. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, congratulations on the victory once again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Watkins Glen.
Thanks.
That is your winner, Hamilton Akabuize. Chris, I think that's how he said it. That's your winner here tonight and at Daytona as well. But Chris Wright, I know you've been struggling through some pain and exhaustion here tonight from your facial injury. But any final thoughts from you, my friend?
I got nothing. It was a good race. It was a lot cleaner than last week. Had a long list of tallies last week, just a couple tonight. So got better. Hopefully next week is a little better, or 2 weeks is a little better, from a racing standpoint, a little bit more battles. It's Sebring's a racetrack that not a lot of people have track time at. So I look for that maybe to be the worst race of the year. And if that's our worst race, that's not too bad. And I should be back to 100% by then too for the next. I anticipate being back to 100% by Monday night. So.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, and I definitely wish you a speedy recovery on that. And, I echo your thoughts here. A good race tonight for these guys. Congratulations to Hamilton and Sean on their wins here tonight. Great to see the performance out of a lot of drivers here tonight who were a lot more competitive than I thought they would be. Definitely a lot more competitive than I would be here. is a very flat track, one that definitely does not fit my driving style at all because there's some right turns and I only like lefts. But congratulations to the winners here tonight. Once again, thanks to Blue Egg Marketing, Worldwide Technology Raceway, TA Services, and of course Robilis Photography for being here with us tonight. This has been the Chad YGP on the Elite Racing Network live from Sebring. We'll see you once again in this series on November 9th from Watkins Glen with the boot. But next time you will hear us here on the Elite Racing Network will be Sunday night in the Truck Series. Let me just verify where we're at. We're going to be at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for round number 1 of the Stay Tuned Sport Truck Series. So be sure to tune in for that with, I believe it'll be Gerald and Zach Evans on Sunday. Not 100% sure on that, but be sure to tune in. Anyways, have yourself a good night, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.